Okay, so verse 2, what a verse to have now, while this whole thing with the Kavanaugh investigation or confirmation or whatever it is happening. So listen to this verse with that in mind. And after watching what went on in the Senate yesterday, whenever I am with others, I will practice seeing myself as the lowest of all. And from the very depths of my heart, I will respectfully hold others as supreme. Did we see any of that in Kavanaugh's testimony yesterday? You can imagine like how different things would be if you had an issue like that. But if people, when it says, I will practice seeing myself as the lowest of all, it doesn't mean that you give up and you surrender and you say you're nothing and you don't put forward your views or advocate your own views. It doesn't mean that. It means that you don't dominate things and cut other people off, and with this power that you're going to win no matter what, that steamrolls over other people. Okay? So, because we here see myself as the lowest of all, and we think, oh, then we're just like timid little things, we don't even say anything. No, it doesn't mean that. Yeah, but when you see, especially as we saw in the Senate yesterday, that kind of behavior, that's what it's talking about, balancing out and neutralizing. Yeah, so that in our hearts we have genuine respect for other living beings. And we have, in the case of, what's going on now, that we have respect for the country, we have respect for our institutions. What's happening now where people are not seeing themselves as the lowest of all, cutting each other off, not answering questions, engaged in partisan attacks. It's making people lose faith in the system of government we have, because the Senate is acting, what's it acting like? I don't know. Sometimes when you watch these nature videos and you see the monkeys all having a big hullabaloo, sometimes it seems like that, yeah? And so, we're human beings, and I think our character is so important. It's not just about winning and reputation and, Kavanaugh's ambition to be a Supreme Court judge, but it's about how things affect the country and our institutions. Will people respect the Senate after this? Will people respect the Supreme Court and actually the whole judiciary system after this? Because judges are supposed to be nonpartisan, but Kavanaugh was anything but nonpartisan in his talk yesterday. So, this verse is, I'm not just talking about them, because we have all inside of us this thing when we get locked into, I want things a certain way, or I believe a certain way. We get this energy where, like, I'm going to push it, and I'm going to push it through, and I'm not taking no for an answer, come hell or high water. And I don't really care what happens to the other people around me, because my ego is so engaged in getting my way that human beings cease to matter. Yeah, so I think that's what an extreme situation, but it happens enough in this world that it's not so extreme. That is being used as an example. And instead of being like that, I'm going to get my way no matter what, he's saying, and from the very depths of my heart, I will respectfully hold others as supreme. In other words, the people that I'm dealing with, that I'm working with, I will respect as human beings who have feelings, who have their own viewpoints, who have their own needs. Whatever I do, I will include the people that are going to be influenced by my actions. I'll include thought and respect for them in what I do. Yeah. So it's really a call for us to respect other living beings. Yeah. And to realize the effect of our actions on others, both short-term and long-term, and to do something with this energy that we all have of, I'm digging my heels in and they're concrete and I'm not budging for this and I'm going to win. Yeah. And I'm going to make sure and I'm going to bully everybody until they capitulate. Yeah. So that clearly isn't Dharma behavior. And it's not the behavior of the kind of character that we're trying to build as practitioners. One of my old Dharma friends once mentioned to me that to him, Dharma practice is character building. Yeah. It's not just learning lists and debate and this kind of stuff. It's character building. How do we transform our character into something that is respectable and that respects others, that is honest and worthy of other people's trust. Yeah, that is open-minded and yet wise and not wishy-washy. So, really working with our own minds on this to try and build our character. Yeah. And even though we may not be in the Senate, we still can get dug into our own views sometimes. Yeah. And to remember this verse then, see myself as the lowest of all. And again, that doesn't mean, I don't advocate for my ideas. But he's saying, to respectfully hold others as supreme, to value other living beings while we're negotiating with them, while we're listening to their viewpoints and expressing our own viewpoint. It sounds so good, and it's so hard to do, isn't it? Yeah? When our mind gets attached to an idea, I'm not even talking about possessions, just ideas. Our mind goes like this. It's amazing what attachment and anger do, how they narrow the mind. Yeah, and limit our perspective and our ability to see huge amounts of dependent arising.